Audio is an often overlooked yet critical part of any live production. In this section, we will cover input types, EQ and compressor limiter setup, grouping, follow, mono, solo, and mute functions of the internal audio mixer included with the TriCaster. We will also cover aux and stream audio configurations and headphone use. To get a better look at the audio mixer, hide the ME setup tabs. You can also scale the interface using the mouse on this line between the multi-viewer and the switcher to get more room. Remember, double-click on that line to reset the interface when you're done. Now, click on the Audio Mixer tab. There are two types of audio you will deal with when doing a live production. The audio can come from an external source, or it can come from an internal source. Your external inputs include 8 stereo pairs of XLR jacks for analog audio. You can also bring in audio as AES EBU digital audio using these jacks, or bring in audio as embedded SDI audio through the SDI video input. You could also bring audio in across the network using Apple AirPlay and other sources. Internally, the DDR can play video clips with audio, and the sound player can play audio files. Let's take a look at the audio mixer layout. All 8 stereo inputs are configurable. Set up the type of audio input here. If using embedded SDI audio, the 8 mixer inputs match up to the 8 video inputs. Any input can be muted by clicking on its speaker icon here. Set it to line and click the gear. You get a 7-band equalizer and a compressor limiter. Each can be turned on and off independently. The equalizer allows you to adjust the different frequency bands for more highs and lows in the audio. The compressor limiter compresses the signal and limits the amount of signal, reducing unwanted peaks, resulting in distortion. Close the configuration panel. Select mic 1 and 2 as the input type. You now have 2 separate faders, one for each jack associated with the audio input. You also have 2 mute controls now. Open the configuration panel. Notice you now have gain controls you didn't have before. The best way to set this up is to plug in a mic and set the fader to 0. Now adjust the gain control to get a level. Then use the faders for adjustments during the live show. VU meters should peak at the top of the yellow portion of the scale. Just touching the red portion may be okay, but best practice is to keep it in the yellow. Each line input has a balance control, allowing you to adjust the volume being output to the left and right channels of the main audio out. A mic input has a pan control. This will actually move or pan the audio between the left and right channels on output. Every input also has a fader for adjusting overall volume of that input to the main audio output. Notice the DDR, network, and graphics channels have 4 VU meters. This TriCaster will support clips with up to 4 channels of audio. That includes bringing in the first 4 channels of embedded SDI audio per SDI video signal. Each input channel can be color grouped. Then these groups can be used to select a group of inputs as a secondary output. You can also configure the auxiliary audio output to output only what is selected in a color group. First, select the color group for each input of the group. Then select that group as the output for the auxiliary audio output right here. There is a control labeled recording for setting the audio level that is being recorded by the TriCaster's ISO quarter. This allows you to adjust the house audio without changing the recording level and vice versa. The last 3 faders are shaded differently as they are output controls. The Aux Fader row controls what goes out the secondary auxiliary audio outputs. Its output sources are configured here and include individual media players, internal sources only, duplicate master audio out, whatever's been soloed, or any of the color groups. It also has EQ and compressor limiter controls and can be independently muted. The stream fader controls the output level on the internet stream. Its output matches main audio out. It also has independent EQ and compressor limiters and mute controls. The master controls the level of the audio output on the main audio out. Again, it also has independent EQ, compressor limiter, and mute controls. There's also a headphone volume control, and it sets the level for the headphone jack. The mono button will create one track from the inputs, and it puts it out on both left and right channels. You can see here we have a stereo clip playing. The levels on left and right are different. The mono button creates a mono track and plays the same thing out of both left and right. See how the levels are now equal. The mic input is only one channel, but it has a feature none of the other inputs have called talk. Talk is designed to let someone plug in a mic into the TriCaster and talk over all of the other audio. When talk is turned on, all other audio levels are dipped to allow that microphone to become dominant. All inputs have the ability to solo. Any channel or group of channels with solo turned on will be isolated out the headphone jack and removed from main audio output. This allows the operator to monitor and check live audio in the headphones before sending it out live. There's also a headphone volume control here. In a pinch, this can be used as another independent group, using solo to create a group going out just the headphone jack. The internal audio mixer also features audio follow video. This means that the audio can automatically follow the video production. This also works with color groups if they're active. When follow is turned on for an input or for an input within a color group, when that input is switched to, its audio will fade up with the transition. When that input is switched away from, its audio fades out with the transition. Here's an example. Let's put Graphics 1 up on program with a logo. Put DDR1 on preview and make sure a clip with audio is selected. While the DDR is on preview, if you play the clip, you hear nothing. The VU meters on the DDR are bouncing, but they are gray. Now fade to the DDR and watch the audio levels fade up with the transition. Its VU meters are now in full color. Before the clip is finished, fade back to Graphics 1. Notice the DDR audio is faded out with the transition. This means if both inputs have audio and they are both set to follow, when you fade from one to the other, the audio will crossfade along with it. You can set up color groups of inputs and have the color groups follow the live production as well. You can also adjust the type of metering you are using on a per input basis using this pop-up control. You can select from dBVU, dBFS, or dBu. There are also presets in the audio mixer, allowing you to have several different mixer presets and instantly get to them. For more control, there's a free iPad app available at the iTunes App Store called TCXD Audio Mixer. Log your iPad onto the same network as the TriCaster. Launch the app in the iPad. Make sure that one of the network inputs is set to receive. Select your TriCaster from the list on your iPad. You now have control over the audio mixer right from your iPad. You can control level, turn on mono, turn on follow, and use presets. Swipe your finger to get more inputs. The outputs are always visible here. You can also see VU meters and access any of the configured presets right from within the app. This TriCaster also supports the Avid Artist Control Surface for audio mixing. Make sure that the control surface is plugged into the same network as the TriCaster before launching the live desktop. The Avid Artist Series mixer plugs in with an Ethernet cable. Make sure to read the manual on the control surface to figure out how to configure all of the controls. Once the live desktop is launched, you will see the control surface come to life. It has motorized faders, and they follow or control exactly what's happening in the TriCaster's audio mixer. You can control every feature of the mixer from this versatile control surface. This is an additional purchase, so please refer to your reseller for more information.